This is a 2021 Honda Ridgeline, but if you're looking for a 2022 video, don't click away because they're actually the same. Actually, the only change is that for 2022, there's a new paint color available. This is the same truck, so whether you're looking for a 2021 review or a 22 review of the Honda Ridgeline, be sure to stick around. I'm Jake, you're watching Gas Guzzlers. This is the Honda Ridgeline. Let's get into it. Now at the front of the vehicle, let's talk about the exterior a little bit. From this angle, it looks almost exactly like a Honda Pilot. That's because these vehicles, they share a lot of parts, same kind of platform. So that's just something to keep in mind with this vehicle. We'll talk about the unibody construction a little more at the side. But for the exterior, this vehicle has the $2,800 HPD package. That's going to get you this special grille right here. In terms of off-road performance, you know, this may not be the top of class. It's got 7.6 inches of ground clearance, about 20 degrees of approach angle. Let's talk lighting. You have LED automatic headlights and automatic high beams on this vehicle. You do have LED fog lights too down below. The daytime running lights are a halogen bulb on this particular model, because this is the base model. Going up to the RTLE, I believe it is, will get you the LED daytime running lights. I was kind of disappointed that this bit right here doesn't light up. It looks like it should, but as far as I can tell, turned on every light switch and it doesn't light up, so that's just decorative, which is a little unfortunate. Overall, a sharp looking front. Getting this HPD grille at least makes it look a little different from the 2017 model, but other than that, it's pretty similar. At the side of the vehicle, I think it's a really sharp looker, but do you prefer this or the old Honda Ridgeline body style that looked more like the Chevy Avalanche? Let me know in the comments below what your opinion is. You can also give your opinion on this $395 white paint. This is a special option. And then right here, you have 18-inch HPD alloy wheels. Those are on 245/60 tires, and I actually quite like the look of them, especially with these black fender flares. I think the side of the vehicle looks really good here, but again, you can let me know what you think. You're only going to have one configuration for this vehicle, and that's going to be this crew cab with that short bed right there. So that's just something to keep in mind. This is the only configuration you'll see. It makes my job as an automotive reviewer a lot easier because a lot of pickups have a million different options. Back right here, unleaded fuel, you know, just your normal fuel. You don't need any special premium or anything like that. And then you also get, as part of that HPD package, this special graphic back here. Now you all can let me know, HPD or TRD, who's coming out on top? We'll see in a few years. Toyota spent a long time building up TRD as really a name to be reckoned with. So we'll see what Honda does to compete with them. At the rear of the vehicle, we do have LED taillights here. Now, dropping down the tailgate is pretty easy. You can just drop it down just like that, pretty normal operation. But the Ridgeline has this cool trick. If you reach right under here and pull a special little lever, it swings open like a barn door. Now, what's the benefit of this? By swinging it open like a barn door, you get a much easier access right into the bed rather than having to go over the tailgate and all that. So that's just something that is kind of a neat, unique feature of the Ridgeline. But here's the thing, this feature was not working when this vehicle arrived. I will have a video linked below to the wonderful Mr. William West Hopper, who actually found a way to fix this tailgate by taking it apart. It's a pretty cool watch, I highly suggest. Now, when it comes to what's in the bed here, it's pretty small. It's about 64 inches. Again, you only have that one bed configuration, and so it is a little bit smaller than some of the competitors. However, Honda has added this. Because of the unibody construction of this vehicle, they were able to add a locking trunk. It's fully plastic, and it even has a drain in it, so you can use it as a cooler. It's a really neat feature that is also unique to the Ridgeline. One other thing I want to mention is because of the cool barn door mechanism right here, this is not damped. That just wasn't going to work out with how complex this tailgate already is. Now here's one of the biggest differences between the Ridgeline and its competition. The Ridgeline is a unibody vehicle. What does that mean? Well, that means that the actual structure of the vehicle is built into the body. This is different from most pickup trucks, which are body on frame, where there's a separate frame first built and then a decorative body is placed on top of that. What's that mean? Well, it means this is going to drive a lot more like an SUV. I mentioned this is very close to the Pilot, and it's much closer to a Pilot than, say, a Tacoma for that reason. This vehicle is going to drive much more like an SUV than a pickup truck. And that is just something that a lot of people prefer, and that's something to keep in mind. What's the downside of body on frame, what's the downside of unibody instead of body on frame? You're going to get a little bit less of that traditional truck capacity, a little bit less of that complete ruggedness that pickup trucks are known for, and a bit less in areas like towing capacity. Let's talk towing and payload. Towing capacity on all Honda Ridgelines is going to be about 5,000 pounds. Payload capacity is going to be just a smidge over 1,500 pounds. Depending on which variant you get, you're going to have some equipment that will reduce that weight, but it'll be just a bit over 1,500. If you're liking the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more weekly automotive content. All right, folks, let's get back into it. Under the hood of any Ridgeline, you're going to find a 3.5 liter V6 engine that's going to be putting out around 280 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. Expect around 18 miles per gallon in the city, around 24 on the highway. Power is going to be sent through a 9-speed transmission to all 4 wheels. Now you join me on the interior of the Honda Ridgeline, and this is the sport model. This is the kind of base trim, and you definitely get what you pay for, right? So you have manual adjusting seats. These are kind of soft injection molded plastics up here with a little bit of a kind of a fake stitch overlap to them. The only real stitching in here is going to be that white contrast stitching you have on the seats. Speaking of the seats, they are very comfortable, really plush. I actually quite enjoy them. They're definitely my high point of this cabin, because the rest of the cabin, it just feels a little bit uninspiring in here. You know, this vehicle hasn't really had a major overhaul since it was unveiled for the 2017 model year, and it's pretty much stayed exactly the same. We'll see the infotainment's pretty much the same, and climate controls are the same. Center stack right here, I actually quite like because it's very simple, large, easy to press buttons, and just a gigantic open center console area. But other than that, it's pretty bog standard in here. But that's not always a bad thing. You all can let me know what you think. Again, this is the base model. Upper trim models like will come with features like a sunroof up here, but this one right here just doesn't have too much to talk about. Now you all join me in the rear of the Ridgeline, and we're used to gobs and gobs of space in the rear of these pickup trucks. Not as much here. Remember, the Ridgeline is a bit of a smaller pickup truck, more of that mid-size than full-size category. Now, this is probably where someone would be seated if they had plenty of legroom in the front, and I'm about 6 feet tall. As you can see, I have knee room here. So really, you can fit 2 adults back here, 2 tall adults back here, and be fine. I also have plenty of headroom back here, which is excellent. Now, looking at the center stack, you have 2 air vents back here, which is great. I feel like a lot of vehicles recently, entry-level vehicles I've been in, have been cutting the air vents in the rear, and that's just terrible. But they have them here, which is great. No charge ports back here, no USB-A, no USB-C or plugs, or even a cigarette lighter back here. So that might be a reason to kind of step up, try to get some outlets, some connectivity back here, especially if you have a family. Opening up right here, your center area does have an armrest. In addition, you have 2 cup holders. They are nubless, and then you do have a little square that you could maybe store some gummy bears in or something. Now, let's talk about the storage under the seats. Now, the Ridgeline seems to do things differently than the other trucks in many ways, and the rear seat storage is no exception. So you can put the rear seats up as they are right here to make lots of interior room in the back. However, it's done a little bit differently than most trucks. There is a bar underneath the seat right here, and you have to pull this bar out, and you have to keep holding it out as you put the seat down, as I shall now demonstrate. So I'm holding the bar up, pull this lever, lowering the seat. I'm still holding the bar, and boom. It snaps into place right there. Throughout that entire process, I was holding that spring-loaded bar out and lowering the seat. Now to put the seat back up, you just pull this handle, and up it goes just like that, and you have a lot of extra interior room. All right, let's take a look at your infotainment screen. And look, this vehicle hasn't changed a lot since its inception around 2017, and that goes for the infotainment system. This is not the new shiny infotainment system that you'll find in the new Accord, the new Civic. You can see it is the old Honda infotainment system. Now, taking a look at it, first of all, one weird quirk about the system is it has all these blank pages. You can see as I scroll through, it's like 4 blank pages, and all the way on the rightmost page is your infotainment, like actual apps that you would use. The system definitely feels like they were planning more for it that just didn't get in. For example, if I hit these dots down here and go to widgets, there's no widgets there, but there is an area for them. And if you go to apps, there is a browser, but that only works if you have the data connection. You know, there's the calculator, which I always thought was an interesting feature Honda had. But really a great update for this vehicle would be just adding that new infotainment system. Also, screen looks a little old. This is just a guess. I don't think this is like a laminated screen, I think is the term. You can see there's like some depth between the actual glass up here and the screen below, or the plastic. This feels like plastic, not glass. So it gives just kind of an old vibe to the system. In addition, it's not great resolution. So that isn't fantastic. And that also affects when you use, for example, your wired Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It just doesn't look great compared to a lot of the competition now. So this is just something to keep in mind. Infotainment probably isn't great. Even when you're using Apple CarPlay, it's acceptable, but nothing fantastic. Your center screen here definitely gets the job done, but not a whole lot more than that. I do like the big separate speedometer. A lot of vehicles you have to choose between a digital speedometer and that central screen for your trip meter and whatnot. Not in this vehicle. They have two separate screens and I really like that. And of course you have the flanking physical dials for those people who have a bit more of an old school preference. Now, if you look at this screen here, it's controlled by these buttons on the steering wheel, which do feel great, by the way. Really great snap to them, which I do appreciate. Now, if we scroll through here, you'll see it's really simple. It's just your trip meter, some tire pressure, and your oil life. So that is a little disappointing. You know, a lot of the competition is going full digital, mostly digital. And this vehicle, sure, this is a base Ridgeline, but it's starting at around $40,000. For this particular model comes in at around $40,000, that is. So that's just a little disappointing. However, when it comes to the quality of the screen and its utility, it's certainly not lacking there. And now going for a drive in the Honda Ridgeline. Pulling out right here, it's got perfect power, and you know what? It feels just like you're driving an SUV. That's the perfect thing about this unibody construction. You don't feel on top of something like a skateboard in a way that I kind of feel when I'm in a body-on-frame truck. This kind of traditional SUV style actually just works really well here. First impressions, just pulling out of a neighborhood and getting onto this mid-sized road here, going up to 30, it's nice and smooth, no problems at all. And now getting on the highway, coming through this turn, fairly aggressive highway entry right here, it feels perfectly fine. You know, it's a very capable vehicle. It drives just like a Honda Pilot. Now getting on the gas a little bit, you have that 3.5 liter V6, so power is not going to be an issue in this vehicle. Also the transmission is really impressive to me. Having that 9-speed transmission, it feels super smooth. There's no guesswork with it like a lot of vehicles do these days, especially as more vehicles have CVTs, which don't feel great when you lay on it to get on the highway. This vehicle just feels really confident. It's no drama. It's just a traditional Honda SUV powertrain, and that works wonderfully. And that's really a big selling point of this vehicle. Let's talk driver assistance. This vehicle has automatic emergency braking and collision detection. It's got lane keep assist and it's got automatic cruise control. I've put on the automatic cruise control right here, and it even has kind of a lane centering functionality too. So you can see if I take my hands off the wheel, as you should not, don't do this at home, it will take this turn on the highway perfectly. So you can just sit here, kind of chill out and let the vehicle take over as long as you're paying attention to the road. It also, of course, just has the regular lane kind of warning system. So if it detects you're leaving your lane, it will vibrate the wheel and yell at you. But I think most people are going to love to just turn on this centering system, put on the auto cruise control, and you're good to go. This is a very competent highway handler. In terms of general driving characteristics, this vehicle is very pleasant to drive. The steering is actually fairly heavy for a vehicle of this class, which I really appreciate. It's not too light where you can turn it with your finger. Of course, that's preference, but I do like it. The pedal feels perfectly responsive. This vehicle does have an eco mode. I'm going to highly suggest you don't press that unless gas is, you're in LA and $7 a gallon. Right here, it's right to the left of your steering wheel. If you press it, it's going to do a few things. It's going to turn on the AC, but one of the things is it really bogs down the engine. The engine feels a lot more responsive when you don't have that mode on. Just something to keep in mind. I'd recommend driving with that off. Other than that, it's a very pleasant vehicle to drive. I don't have trouble keeping in the lane, right? This is a mid-sized truck. It's not huge, so it's easy to keep in the lane and handle around maybe some tighter turns that larger trucks may have trouble with. Overall, it's a very competent handling vehicle. So what do I think of the Honda Ridgeline? Well, it's a slacker. They haven't updated in forever and it's old. But everything in this segment hasn't been updated and is old. This is a mid-sized truck. What's it competing against? Ranger, Tacoma. these vehicles haven't been updated in a long time, or the Colorado or the Canyon, even older in many ways. And this vehicle has a distinct advantage over all of those, and that's its unibody construction and its unique rear. Its unibody is going to allow for it to have that tailgate, which a lot of people in this segment may really like. Sure, the Ranger and Tacoma may be more truck-like than it, but for a lot of people in this segment, a true truck isn't what they're looking for, and the more SUV-like qualities of the Ridgeline may be exactly what they need. And if you're that person who needs a truck but doesn't really need a truck, there's nothing wrong with that, and this vehicle was made for you and is perfect for you, so definitely check it out. Unless you need the latest in technology and the latest in design, then maybe you'll have to wait for someone in this class to finally pick up their slack and finally put out a new product. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been great reviewing this vehicle. If you like our videos, be sure to like and subscribe for more weekly automotive content. I'll see you next week.